Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this video. You're one of the people on Medium I saw before I even knew I could write on Medium. So it is honestly surreal to be talking with you right now. And from reading a ton of your stories, I know you're going to have so much good advice to tell people. I'm really excited to get into it.
Thanks so much, Willie. I'm stoked to be here. The time we're in, we're extremely lucky. Yeah, it's like you get to pay to write videos, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. It's like, 2 years ago? No way. Medium, a year and a half, maybe?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like being paid to write. Like that's not a thing. You know?
Yeah. I still remember like the reason I got into Medium was Tom Kugler's webinar. And I don't even know how I found it. Probably just like browsing on the internet or whatever. I probably read one of his posts, right? And I was like, $900 a month for writing? And I like the stuff he was writing, it wasn't super academic. It was very relatable and personable. And I was like, I could do this. And then obviously here we are now.
Yeah, I
We're
think.
so fortunate to live in this time. You're absolutely right.
But what do you think of it seemed like a year ago it was easier. Like last year I could almost I knew if an article was going to do well, like before I published it. And this
Yeah.
year there's not at all. It seems just like the last 6 months. It's really random.
It's been hard for me to crack the code. I thought I've got it figured out. Like there was a while when I was having like 1 or 2 stories per month in the big Medium publications, and when they were dominating the homepage, I was like, perfect. This is the recipe to success. This is how I get followers and reads and earning money. And then that changed, and I was like, I felt from that point on, I was always a half step behind what was happening. So I was actually, frankly, shocked to this. I'm still reeling. I woke up this morning and I had more views on this one story than I've ever had in a single day ever on Medium. Expected that. I never would have predicted that. I've written other stuff for Mind Cafe. I've had other stuff curated in Self.
Too, it's tricky. Like last month, the last 60 days, I wrote one on like 11 phrases that people love, and then one that like a socially aware people don't say. And the negative always does better.
Really? That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's like people, and also I think it's almost easier. Like, don't do this is easier than, hey, you have to make an effort.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, like things to avoid rather than
people
things to start doing.
Yeah, like don't want to be a dick. Like that's the fastest way to be nice is probably don't do bad things. I actually just wrote an article about like don't let them determine the quality of your work. Like you could write something incredible that gets crickets, and if you don't shop it around, like you're never going to know. And a big article in Fast Company or Thought Catalog is still a big article.
Yeah,
just like absolutely. You don't get paid directly, but still it's a big. Yeah, I should have started doing that a long time ago, I think.
You're making me feel like I should start fishing around. I find like, I don't know about you, you've got your own coaching business. I have like a full-time job that I love, and like I wouldn't want to quit it or anything like that. But as things with Medium and YouTube start taking off, I'm finding it harder and harder to find like space in the edges of my day to do that. How do you balance your time between the coaching and the writing and the marketing aspect of everything?
I don't do marketing, so that's one aspect of it.
Cut that out completely.
That's the benefit of being 41, I think, is I've been doing this a long time. So I have the contacts in Barcelona, so that helps. And with articles, that's usually enough for my marketing. For now. It depends if Medium is still going to, like, that's a big reason why I've started to shop more, is I get more leads outside of Medium. And LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn's the only platform I'm on, like, regularly. And I don't even, I'll post once a week there. But what I do at the end of my articles is I have a CTA, say hi here. And it's on like LinkedIn, like there's no commitment, like it's not an email list. And you'd be probably 10 times a day, could probably do a screen share of the amount of, hey, Mike, I read your article, just wanted to say hi, It's absolutely insane. I'll see if I have some from today. I probably do. That CTA has been a gold mine. And
Really?
With Medium too, it's like you don't have a chance to privately talk with people.
Yeah.
So if you see that, like the messages, like this is from today.
Wow.
So I have, like, that's just like show more. Like, so I have 18 of these from today.
That's amazing.
Everybody on like LinkedIn wants to have connections. So it's like an easy win. I think I've done maybe 20 posts in LinkedIn in a year, and I've grown from like 500 connections to like 3,500 maybe.
Wow.
From 3 call to actions on articles.
That's amazing.
And like they'll ask me about coaching, or hey, I just started my career. So I'll reply back like, hey, is there anything you're working on? So it's just kind of like, that's my marketing. Usually I don't have to really sell the coaching services.
Honestly, I think that's the dream. Like, I don't know about you, but I've realized most writers that I speak to, and I think honestly most people I've spoken to, hate self-promotion. They hate marketing themselves. Even stuff like, give my article a read, give it a share. That's hard for people to do. So this is just like having a little say hi, I find is much more natural and an easier strategy for a lot of writers to do.
And you get to see like the people's faces. You get to see the place that they work. So it's like a super easy way to start a conversation about some kind of sale thing down the road. That's my marketing. So I also think though, like I took the first, like my backstory with Medium, like is my strategy was to become a good writer. Like that's if you write good stuff, you're going to get things. So I think like that's a big, so I don't go as fast as some, like usually it takes me like 10 hours an article unless I have a rant. Like this past week I went on some rants, like some things pissed me off, or I just had a fast idea, but generally I'll go really, really slow. And it seems like that's paid off because like the majority of the offer I had from Forge last 6 months ago was to send everything to them first. And with Business Insider, with the agent for the book, is all of them went through and read lots of my articles. So if you have some shit ones, they're not going to call you. So I think it's a strategy I didn't really think of then, but looking back now, you don't have to have all your posts on Medium. If you have some, just to make $5, if you know it's not going to do well, do you really need to share it?
Yeah.
Depends your goals.
That's true. I think a lot of writers on Medium, myself included, to be honest, we forget to look at the big picture, right? We're focused on succeeding on Medium. And so much of the advice out there is write a lot and write well. And sometimes those kind of can contradict each other. And especially for the writing well aspect, if you're thinking more holistically, thinking about other opportunities that could come down the road, both for putting your writing on other platforms, but also your whole coaching business, it helps to maybe slow down on the content mill and just focus on putting out good stories. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think Nick Wignall does it really well. He just throws out hits, like the articles he knows are going to work, and they don't always work. But I think in terms, if you're starting out and you're writing, of course, you write a lot. But if your goals change and you're looking for opportunities, you need to look at it and ask it. My dad said something. He asked me a question. I think I threw him an article, and he's the worst critic in the world. I mean, he yells. He'll call me up this was embarrassing. I'm like, holy shit, Dad. Relax. It's Medium. But he asked me a question. Is would your dream collaboration writer appreciate this article? And I always think of that. It's a tough question. There's times when you should just get ideas out and just get them out into the world. But I think of that question a lot. Is this it's not the brand I want to build or anything, but more just hey, these are the things that I actually want out into the world. And if you've been writing for a year, you don't just improve from writing. There's a lot of ways to improve. And I think going slow, my first 10 articles, I worked with an editor. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And he's been doing it for 20 years. He taught me more in 10 hours than I'll learn just from writing in probably 10 years. And just small things like tweaks and turns and introductions, hooks. There's people who can teach you that really, really quickly. And if you share your work with them saying hey, I want to improve as a writer, they're going to like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth the investment. You don't just have to what is it? Tim and Io, just write, and you're going to improve. That worked for them. but they can throw out articles at an insane rate, and their
Yeah.
quality, like the two of theirs quality, like the last 6 months has escalated tremendously. And I think like for that type of person, like Shannon Ashley, Tom, who can write fast, yeah, it's great. But if you're not that person, like work with, like go slow, like take your, like take a year, go slow, and you'll be surprised at how fast. I think my first year I had like 150,000 views total. And then it went, last year I averaged 30,000 views an article.
Wow.
So it went to 3 million. And every article, I'm not going to do a screen share of it. Like there was a run of 10 that had 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 30,000, like, just ding, 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 ding. And I didn't see a big difference in my first year and second year, but when you print them out, like it's massive, like these little small things. And I took my time more. I asked for feedback from people more. I think that's really a valuable thing. And in terms of long run, like once you get good at writing, like that's the goal. As soon as you hit that peak, I guess, just like you just have to think. You don't have to write anymore. It's just thinking. Like the writing is already good. So if I was starting out, I would do it both ways, like write a lot, but get people looking at your work. And
yeah, I was going to say, like, from what you're saying, it sounds like this is a false dichotomy here, but it sounds like you're saying there are almost two kinds of writers. They're the ones like me, for example, I can just crank stuff out and like improve gradually that way. But for you, because it takes you much more time and you have to invest a lot of time anyway in each article, it makes more sense to, rather than just like passively assuming you'll improve through hundreds of articles, actively trying to focus on improving by asking for feedback, even getting editors involved, and just like really thinking about how each story can do better. And for you, that obviously, it took a year, but it paid off hugely, right?
Yeah, I went fat. Like that year I wrote a lot, and I studied more though. And I try not to read a lot on Medium, like just because like there's a lot of the same conversations going on. Yeah. And for me, I go there to see like what the people aren't saying, like more than I actually am. Like, oh, hey, like this is hot, I'm gonna do it also. But I think to get back to your question, that it depends the type of person, and I think if you take the time, like, to actually see your strengths as a writer. For me, I know, like, I talk with Wignall a lot. Like the two of us are in the same kind of field. Like we write the same kind of stuff. It's like blogger slash life experiences, and he can write it out fast. For me though, it takes me, for all my like top phrases, like that are always highlighted, that comes like the fifth day.
Wow, really?
So it's like the fifth draft. Yeah, it's like, it becomes a song for me almost. Like, so like the first draft is just the thoughts.
Okay.
And then it's like, how do you have it sing some? And if I like doing rhymes, sounds stupid.
No.
Like the flow will keep the reader going. Usually like little twists and turns on things. It takes me a while for that. If I'm in an interview, like I suck in an interview, but afterwards I'm really good at it. So I think I'm kind of that same way with writing, like where my thoughts usually have to connect. So I think that's the fun part for me though. Like that's like a math problem for me. Just like that's the fun of it, is like, how can I write a simple thing about being likable and make it really fucking good? Yeah. And what terms, what phrases, like you look at the popular quotes, like how can you screw those around some so it's yours? And I think that's for me, it's the fun. And usually like I'm usually paid on those articles, like the ones that I do. Like last week I did 3 quick, and they're my worst articles in 2 years. Really? Yeah. Just proved my point. Like I thought the articles were good, and it just, it could be like the algorithm or whatever, timing.
Hard to say.
But it just proves my point that it's like, shit, like you have to keep slowing down. Like,
yeah. I wanted to ask, actually, now that you mention it, like, you've kind of mentioned bits of it, but can you walk me through what your writing process is like? Like day one, you sit down at your computer, what happens?
I usually have, here's my big trick. is I keep micro stories. I have little documents of little stories throughout the day. So my most recent one with Forge, like last week, was I walked up the steps and my kid sitting in his tent there with his dinosaurs all like lined up, and he was smiling and laughing to himself. And I was stressed the fuck out. And I like looked at him and I was like, I want to be him again. You know, like, why am I stressed out in the morning? So like that small story, it's like, you can relate to that.
Yeah.
It's a, so it's a 3-sentence story. And generally I'll start my articles with like, usually that's the thought that kind of will kick them off. I don't have I have a list of like thousands of article ideas and halfway written crap ones. But generally I'll start off of some kind of inspiration in my own life. Or I watch something, I heard something. A lot of my articles are from my conversations with clients, wife, kids. So I'll start with that. I can't write and say, today I'm going to write about confidence. Like, it doesn't work like that for me. I have to be inspired from something actually happening in my life.
So you've got all these micro stories, and like you were saying that you can't just like sit down and be like, today I'm going to write about confidence. Like, something has to happen in your life for that to be inspired. Yeah.
So generally I have to, so I don't write to live. It's more the other way around, I guess. And it's usually like what I write about is an extension of what I'm doing. So I can't just fabricate some article about confidence or being likable or whatever it is. It has to come from something I see generally. And I'll collect those stories. So my gold mine for ideas is these little stories. And I'm always frustrated, because I'll start that story and think that I should be able to just write out a whole article about it. And I can't. But collecting all those stories, like, that allows me to kind of connect the dots on those ideas. Like, so if I have something on my kids, like with being cool or whatever it is, I'll have other stories that I can, so it's more of a puzzle. Yeah. For me, it's a math problem, or a puzzle. And I like to sit. Yeah. And I kind of enjoy, like, if I take a topic like relationships, like actually thinking about it for a week and grabbing small things throughout the day that make the articles more relatable. I think I could actually write viral articles probably pretty easily, like the formula.
Yeah.
But like my type of writing, I like having the little stories. I think it makes it more human. I think there's certain voices that can tell people what to do. And that works really well for some. But if it doesn't work for you, it makes you look like a jerk. So I think, like, for me, I prefer, like, this is something I learned or I screwed up.
Yeah.
And like the response of that.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things about writing on Medium or reading on Medium even, is that it seems like there's a real audience for life stories, for this is what happened to me and this is what I learned, rather than like you should do this because I'm telling you kind of story, if that makes sense. I was actually, I was reading, I guess by now, by the time this video goes live, I'm sure it'll have been published, but your latest draft on the 6 things that kind, considerate people do. And I just love all the different, all the different vignettes that you had in there. And I think you might have even mentioned one just now about the lady from, I don't know her name, from Apple, that you were saying, like, that I think, what was it? She writes down when people make her feel seen. Was that her?
Yeah.
So
that's the coolest thing. Like, that's a really cool thing, I think. And
I love that.
Like, that article, though, if I take an article like you said something before we started recording, like, you don't want to just take something like that you think is going to do well, just to do that. And so if I take a broad thing like 6 habits of confident or kind or whatever it is, like, I can't in good conscience just throw together some nice sounding sentences. Brianna West is like she is like a voice in your head, like kind of a soothing yell.
Yeah.
And I can't do that. Yeah, maybe I'll try. Like, the one time I tried that, I wrote an article that got like 40,000 views in a day.
Wow. Okay.
And it was like one of my first ones. And I was super excited. It was my birthday last year.
Wow.
And Medium took it off the popular list. They detagged everything. They silenced the article because it wasn't the tone that they wanted in their articles. And I was like, what are you kidding? I was like, are you kidding? Like, sabotage shows up in every title on Medium. Like, I'm not doing anything different here. And I'm like, should I even said in the intro, I'm like a stuttering confidence coach. Like, I don't think I'm the bad guy here.
Yeah.
But yeah, like something with the tone, like I couldn't get away with it. Like maybe they kind of saw it as me trying to cheat.
Yeah. I wonder about that sometimes. Like, I guess like you, like if I wrote 3 stories following a formula of like the popular on Medium type of stuff, I could probably do okay. And one of them might go viral, but then like I couldn't write like that consistently because that's not the kind of story that I like to tell. And I think I would end up like burned out and probably kind of angry at myself if I even tried. So how long does it take you to put together an article? Is it like a week on average, would you say?
Yeah, 10 hours. Yeah, a week, 10 hours. And not just like me sitting and like banging away on the computer, but actually thinking about it. Like I'll go for walks and think about the article. There's a trick I do is like you just take a pen. So you go for a walk, you can't have your phone, and you can only write on certain parts of your body, right? So you, like you run out of space.
Yeah.
So you have to get your so if I have 7 things in my head, like 2 get written down. So I have a fight.
Once you've been like working on it, it's been kind of, you've been ruminating on it. Do you go through multiple drafts then?
So I know what I kind of want. Like right now I know like what works for me. And generally with feedback, it's more readability at that point. So I have like my ideas and it's more just getting it like super clean for the readers. Like, and right now, like we're paid off read time, and that's like the opposite of how I write. I don't read on Medium like to get lost in a story. It's more quick things, and I write quick things. So I try not to just write extra words just to make more money for Medium. Yeah, and it's more of a like a cut process. For me is I'll have 1,500 words and I'll get it down to 9 maybe. My dad had a thing like he was in Vietnam and he had to do his first speech in front of like the big wigs, and a minute into it like the biggest wigs stopped him and said, "You have a minute to tell me why I'm here and another one to tell me why I should stay." And I always think of that, like like for me, I grew up stuttering, so I want to use the least amount of words possible. Like it's the same with my writing, like clear, concise, and easy to understand. Yeah. And that's not paying right now, like, but that's fine. Yeah, if that's your thing, go for it. I wouldn't change it because of Medium. But vice versa. Yeah, I'm not going to bulk up something just because I can. I don't. So would you mind telling me how much money you make on Medium? My dad will kill me, but I'll give you an idea. Like I've been coaching for a while and I made probably triple what I earned coaching last year with what I wrote on Medium in the last 12 months. Wow. So it's equivalent. Yes. But you have to keep in mind for 2 years, I didn't make anything. In 2018, I made $600. And last year, my goal was to make 500 a month, I think, and things just clicked. But you have to spread it, like when you're like making stuff, like you have to spread it out. So it's like a big ego boost, and I feel like, oh, I'm cool, I'm in the top spec. Yeah. But in reality, like things turn pretty quick. And this month, like I'm down 60% from where I was last year. I'm in the last 6 months, and yeah, like you never know. So it's up and down. But in terms of, we're lucky, huh? And I think with new writers, especially, like sticking with it, I'm not sure if I didn't start to see something that I would have stayed with it that long. So if you are continuing like to write, you're not earning anything, like good, like just keep at it. That's the whole game. And like the best part of all of this for me is like the money is stressful. The best part is being a starving artist. Like that's the fun. Like that's the part you're going to remember. And as soon as I started like doing well on Medium, like the stress, yes, like something about like, I don't want this to end. Yeah. You got to keep it up. It's more powerful than like, it's kind of a weird thing. And now I'm starting to finally enjoy it, but it took a year to start enjoying it. What advice would you give to new authors coming on the platform who are like you, who can't just spend 45 minutes a day writing an article, 7 articles a week? What would you tell them? I'm going to tell them that if you look at like what we're able to do now, like in terms of creation and getting paid for it, like I think it's just the beginning of it. And like, if you look at the span of your career, it's going to be like, I think we're all going to be working for 50 years now. Like we're not, like retirement's kind of not becoming a thing, like self-employed is rising. And each year is just like 2% of your career. And if you look at it like that way, like, and just build, like build the portfolio you want and choose to do it your way, there's a lot of ways to make money. There's some people who write on Medium, like who don't write very often, who write for other people, who blow like all the top figures like that we see for this month on Medium. Like there's a lot of opportunities for money, especially with writing now going forward. Is becoming super valuable. Like your ability for marketing, for writing, like there's tons of opportunities. And just because it's like, you're not, for me, I would just like lean into yourself. Like don't get influenced too much, like get the basics down pat, like, but don't get influenced too much, and just kind of, like if you like, you're not going to make it if you're doing somebody else's work. So you might as well just cut to the shit and do it like the way you want to do it. And I think everything else is kind of a waste of time. And maybe you get paid and you can go to Disney World for a weekend or something, like, but who really gives us, like you want long-term stuff. And I think if you can write well and be you, like that's like Nick Goki is an example for like the perfect example for me of like somebody who doesn't, he's like you, like from spending a lot of time with him, like what you see online is exactly what you get. And he's got a lot of things going on. Like Medium's hot, great. If not, he has like 4 other things happening at once. And getting that diversification out there, and start your email list. It took me a year and freaking 2 years to start one. And it's a huge, that's the only thing that my agent is screaming at me about is what the hell were you thinking? Like collect emails, get them on LinkedIn, like do something to bring people over to you.
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, I really, really like that advice. I find people who come on Medium to make a quick buck are the people who don't stay. It's the people who love writing and who love telling stories and who are able to think holistically about what they're trying to do and what they want to achieve in not just 2 weeks, but 2 years, 10 years. Those are the ones who stick it out. And I think a lot of what you were saying was resonating with my ideas of that. So yeah.
I just wrote something that, like your love of writing, is always like your greatest asset.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only thing that really matters, is keeping that alive.
Yeah.
Take breaks. Like my marriage, my kids, like my biggest problem is not being able to step away. And every time like she looks at me and just like, you haven't like left the house today, like go outside, turn your freaking computer. I come back and things click a lot faster. So it's so easy to just get trapped in this world, but cut it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was exactly as I thought it would be, just full of so much inspiring advice for new writers, for old writers, for writers in the middle. And I really loved how big picture you're thinking. It's not just about what story can you put out today. You're thinking, where are you going to be in 10 years? And I find that a lot of writers could really benefit from trying to take that mind shift and applying it to their own writing careers. So once again, thank you so much for being a part of this. This was amazing.
This was fun. Thanks, Julie.